Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the college football playoff championship game will be played soon in the Valley. Also tonight, actor Daniel Baldwin talks about beating drug addiction, and we'll take you to a cafe that helps refugees succeed in their new home. That's next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Susan Bittersmith announced today that she's resigning from the Arizona Corporation Commission. The resignation will be effective January 4th. The move comes after the state attorney general filed a petition to the Arizona Supreme Court earlier this month seeking to remove Bittersmith from office for conflict of interest concerns regarding Bittersmith's work as the head of a cable television trade group, all while serving on the commission. Bittersmith filed a response to the court action yesterday claiming there was no conflict of interest, and today she said she still wants the case to be heard by the court, but that the controversy had become too much of a distraction. Governor Ducey will name a replacement to serve the remainder of Bittersmith's term, which runs through 2016. The state's unemployment rate fell to 6% in November, largely due to seasonal retail jobs and a strong showing from the construction sector, which showed its first November job gain in 10 years. Arizona's jobless rate, though, is still a full percentage point higher than the national average, which remains at 5%. And the Arizona Department of Corrections has awarded a 20-year contract to a Tennessee company to house 1,000 medium security inmates in Eloy. The contract will pay Corrections Corporation of America $22 million a year, which the Corrections Department says would be less than housing the inmates in a state-run facility. The College Football National Championship game will be held January 11th at University of Phoenix Stadium. Here now to update preparations for the big event is Wynn Holden, the co-chair of the State Organizing Committee for the 2016 College Football Playoff National Championship. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Ted.
Thanks for being here. How are preparations going?
Wow, it's fast and furious. When we were in Dallas a year ago, a group of us from the committee went over there to observe the first national championship game. Today and January 11th, 2016 seemed like a lifetime away, and now we're at, 25 days away?
What were the concerns then? Have those concerns changed now?
Well, the concern is always to make sure that we live up to our reputation as a stager of world-class events, and clearly we're very confident that that's going to happen. The one thing that we had no control over resolved itself pretty successfully with the selection of the 4 semifinal teams. Those games occur on New Year's Eve, and then the winners of those will be here in Phoenix on January 11th.
As far as, I want to get to those teams and those locations in a second here, but as far as what is involved in preparing for such a thing? I know that we have a history of these big games and these big events, but does it change with each? It has to with each event, doesn't it?
Well, sure, and what really is driving the system now, when you look at Super Bowl, national championship game, the Final Four that we're going to host here, the men's basketball Final Four in 2017, I don't think it's an accident that the Valley was successful in obtaining those events. We clearly have to rely upon raising money. We have a tremendously successful group of volunteers who are committed to making the experience for guests absolutely first rate. And with these larger scale events, Super Bowl we just experienced earlier this year, and with the champ game coming up, there's so much for Valley residents, whether they have a ticket or not. There's so many events that people can take advantage of downtown in the campus.
Talk about those events. Where will they be focused downtown for the most part?
Primarily, the larger events are going to be downtown Phoenix, and the reason for that is the whole Super Bowl experience proved that when you have a walkable campus for people to do, whether it's going to the Fan Central experience or the Playoff Playlist Live, where there are going to be free concerts, big name entertainment, John Cougar Mellencamp, you got Sierra, people that I don't have a clue, but my daughters think it's a big deal. Those kinds of things are free to Valley residents, and you can take advantage of just coming in and soaking up some of the atmosphere. In Glendale, there's a substantial amount of playoff activities prior to the game on game day that people can take advantage of, and obviously that's a ticket holder thing, and that's a little bit different, but you won't be able to go from January 8th through the 11th. This is going to be the epicenter of the college football universe.
And you mentioned the teams. We know now that we got the Alabamas and the Clemsons and the Michigan States.
And the Oklahomas.
And the Oklahoma. No, I'm not going to leave them out at all. But is the state advertising in Oklahoma, in South Carolina, in Michigan, and Alabama. Is the state reaching out a little bit saying, here we are?
Well, the difference in the model of this, it's a little bit like the Super Bowl. We had to bid for the right to host this game, and so the college playoff folks really control the ticket sales, and they do the outreach into those individual markets. Now, we will reach out to the university administrations, the alumni associations, particularly the local alumni associations, and provide them with opportunities to participate. But it's a totally different model from the old days of the Fiesta Bowl, where we would send people to each of those markets in our lovely yellow jackets and do exactly what you and I are doing, and meeting with other media and trying to tout the importance of coming to the game.
There's another game, the Fiesta Bowl, which sometimes is a big deal and sometimes isn't such a big deal. This year, Ohio State and Notre Dame are going to be playing here.
Yeah, two very small.
Yeah, we've heard of them before. Can there be too much of a good thing?
Boy, I don't think so. If you're a college football fan, I don't think you can OD on college football, particularly this time of year as we're getting into the bowl season. And you can argue that there are too many bowl games. That's for somebody else to decide, not me. But when you give these student athletes the opportunity to be rewarded for their effort over the course of a season, that's what bowl games are all about.
Well, yeah, great for the student athletes, but as far as the city's concerned, the region is, do we have enough hotel rooms? Are there enough things to do? Are there enough vacancies out? I mean, Ohio State and Notre Dame are pretty good traveling teams. Then you've got the championship game, and you know they're going to travel pretty well. The Cardinals are in the playoffs, and someone's going to come out here from some other NFL city, not to mention Arizona fans going, that's a lot of stuff going on.
Absolutely, and it's kind of going to be nifty to be a part of that and soak yourselves in all that excitement. But the good news is the staging of the games, the timing of the games, give us some air. So the second bowl game, the Cactus Bowl, is on January 2nd, and then we've got until the 8th before activities related to the champ game occur. So there's plenty of time for the community to recover, for people to move out of the hotel rooms. But the other advantage that this market has is we're a resort destination. We know how to do mega events. We know how to host massively large groups downtown Phoenix, the other hotels, other communities, Mesa, Scottsdale, Tempe. All of them are part of the program and are committed to making this successful.
Last question for Valley residents watching right now, saying this is all fine and dandy, but what's in it for me?
Well, a couple of things. When you look at it from a more macro perspective, the economic development activities that surround games like this is extraordinary. The 4 BCS championship games that the Fiesta Bowl hosted most recently generated over almost $650 million in economic impact. It's a substantial economic driver for that. Secondly, local residents on a more micro level have the opportunity to get involved as volunteers. We need about 1,200 volunteers to make sure our guests and visitors have a terrific experience. So if you simply go to azchampgame.org, our website, there's a button you can click to volunteer, and we'd love to have folks volunteer.
All right. Well, sounds like you're set to go, huh?
Ready to go.
Exciting times. What are you going to do? What are you going to do the 12th?
Probably sleep in.
All right. Good to see you, Win. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ted.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
Daniel Baldwin is best known for his acting roles, his celebrity status, and for being a Baldwin brother. He's also known for a long and at times public fight against addiction, and he's now helping those still fighting that battle. Joining us now to talk about drug addiction is Daniel Baldwin. And we also welcome Greg Hanley, founder of Sober Recovery Centers, which has a location in Mesa. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
You've described yourself as the drug one of the Baldwin brothers. How did the bad times begin with you?
You know, I came from a middle-class family. My dad was a school teacher with 6 kids. So I think that making money was a big part of it, and getting in and around the scene in the 80s when I started to, my career started to flourish. And so I got around people, and I really didn't know much about the drug world. I was an athlete in high school and college, and here I was at a party. I remember the first time I ever did cocaine, and I was at a party with a very famous person's home, and I remember the first time I tried it, and I thought, wow, I feel really great now. And you know, and it was very euphoric to me and everything. Little did I realize 6 months later it gripped me so quickly I was in rehab.
So you can really relate it back to one incident?
The first time I ever smoked cocaine was, I chased that for years.
Is that a familiar? Do you hear that a lot? Where it's one? I mean, would it have been better for him if he'd had a lousy experience?
Yeah, it's like winning a slot machine your first time. A lot of times, so they say when you do that, it's kind of like having a gorilla have a grip around your neck, that you don't stop the gorilla until it's ready to stop. So when he had a big experience like that, that's the tricky part of most drugs that people are using, is that they fool you into thinking that things are going good, and until they get really bad.
And they got really. Now, was it a variety of things you were addicted to? Was it more than one? I mean, what was going on?
No, for me, I was. It was pretty much cocaine, and you know, the interesting thing is, you start to do it, and I think most alcoholics or addicts will describe this, and it really doesn't have a huge effect on your life. After you start to use it more and more often, 10% of the time it's not so great because you're starting to tell lies to cover yourself, but 90%, and suddenly that becomes 70-30, and then 60-40, and then it's terrible, you know. But you find yourself doing it over and over again, and you really don't. I got so hung up on why is this happening? Why do I keep doing this? And you know what? I had a guy say to me one time, he goes, do you know that a black hole is the only thing that doesn't subscribe to Newton's law? I said, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Why is that? And I looked at him and I went, I beg your pardon? He said, well, why is that? And I said, God, I really don't know. He goes, so you've gotten by not knowing that one too, then, haven't you?
Interesting. Yeah. But 20 years? This went on for 20 years?
20 years.
You were in and out of rehab, what, 9
times?
9 times. Okay. What was not working in those rehab
I'll tell you
stints?
what's not working, and in correlation with the fact that Greg, who's my sponsor and my best friend and mentor, his program was the last one I went to. And the difference was there is a direct correlation with longevity of stay and how long you stay sober. And that's a fact. And so a lot of the stereotypical 30-day insurance models are, let's clean them up a little bit and let's get them back to work, whatever. You know, we would not take our 8-year-old child, teach them about the language, teach them basic skills, and throw them out in the street either, would we? So there's a transitional period involved here. That takes months. It took years to get into the rehab. It takes a year or better to get out.
And that's something, obviously, did you discover this on your own? Was it just obvious to you that these people aren't ready to get out of here yet?
Well, yeah, I saw the traditional rehabs weren't working. The 30-day models, and they you hear percentages, and it's less than 2%. So people, they come up with a bunch of money, or they figure out a way to get somebody into a 30-day rehab, and it's kind of a dirty secret that it doesn't work. And they're actually designed to fail, because then the people come back and come back and come back, and they get more money. So through working with the JCAHO accreditation guy who did 30 years of mental health working with accrediting rehabs, I asked him, I go, of all of these things that we're doing, and when you're accredited, you do anything you can imagine, what is the most important? And he said length of time. So at 6 months of consistent treatment, the percentage will go up to around 60 to 70% of the people will maintain their recovery. And what I'm seeing is that at a year, 90% will get multiple years.
Wow, that is very interesting. I haven't really heard that, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Because listen, you go in, and here's the reason why this worked for me. This is a byproduct, the drug addiction, of probably some underlying issues. Okay, so with that said, you go in and you already have trust issues. You're in a complete fog the first couple of weeks there. You start to actually sleep and eat and get around. So the webs get clear after about 2 weeks. And you've got 2 weeks to sit across from someone who you've never met before in your life, and you're going to tell them all the deep, dark secrets of your life. That's not going to happen. It takes months to establish that trust, to get to the underlying reasons as to why you're using drugs and alcohol to numb some of these feelings and situations.
Did you get to your underlying reasons?
I did.
When you got to those underlying reasons, were you surprised?
I was surprised. Well, again, remember too, I got to them and I processed them in therapy, pretty hardcore stuff too.
Yes.
But I did that under the protective umbrella of a community that's all sober.
Sure.
You know, and having to adhere to the guidelines of working my steps and having to report in, being UA'd while I was there, monitored, so to make sure that you were being honest about it. You know, so all those things helped me, that when I went through some of that painful stuff, I didn't have to go through it alone. I had the community with me, and so that was really helpful.
But it was helpful. But I mean, sometimes, I mean, we hear about this in psychology all the time. People will find out, I never knew that I resented my dog, or whatever the case was.
Sure.
I mean,
I hated that dog.
Yeah, well, but I mean, was it something like you're sitting there going, my goodness, I didn't realize it affected me that much?
I didn't realize that there was resentments are killers. Would you agree? I mean, that's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, it's the worst. And they have therapies. There's an EMDR therapy that is designed for trauma that takes you kind of back and figures out what was bugging you. And most people find, just like you were saying, that it wasn't the most obvious thing, it was something else. So you would think that some horrible life event is what triggered somebody, and they find they got left at the baseball field when they were 6,
Yeah.
and it scared them. And
Yeah.
they didn't ever know until they went back into it and then dealt with it. And you can't figure this out in 30 days. It doesn't work like that.
But when someone comes in, let's say it's resentment right now, and they hit that mark, and all of a sudden you're seeing a progress, you're seeing recognition, understanding, does that necessarily mean that addiction is going to be affected?
I don't understand what.
Well, if you're finding out what an underlying cause to the addiction is, and you've got it, you know it. I mean,
it's going to be part of it.
I was going to say, yeah, the
It's going to
game's
be
not
part of
over.
it.
Right.
No, there.
Right.
So you have medical, psychological, psychiatric, social, spiritual, nutrition and fitness there, and especially in today's world. So you're talking about Daniel 20 years ago, where it was the guy who goes to rehab is a guy who's 30 years old, alcoholic or cocaine. Right now, the country is under an epidemic new heroin resurgence from 20 to 25-year-old young people. And by the time they get to rehab, they need to have every bit of that, including vocational, to be able to re-enter society, and especially the social part. If you take a young person, so these percentages that I were telling you, that might be guys like him and I. So a young 20-year-old kid who's on heroin, and all of his friends are, who these aren't downtown heroin addicts, these are out in the suburbs. They can't go home where all their buddies are doing it too for a long time. So they have to socially learn how to reintegrate.
Can the 20 to 25-year-old heroin addict, any kind of an addict, how can they identify with you? How do you get through to these?
Well, I think the most important thing is the commonality of the helplessness. There were many times that I had those moments, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I really don't want. I mean, you do know there are those moments of clarity where you say, I just don't want to do this. And then there's the arrests and the parents and the failed relationships, and they have those. They have the parents on their case all the time, which is no different than the spouse for us when we got older.
Right.
And they see the failure. When they clang that door behind you and the guy in the uniform's on the other side of those bars, we all know something's not right. Our freedoms are being taken away from us. And I had to experience that too. So there's a lot of similarities. But I think the helplessness of, I can't stop. And the answer is, you can. You just probably can't do it on your own.
Right.
You need some help.
Is there a mixed message in Hollywood when it comes to addiction? I mean, there was, it seemed like recently, but it probably wasn't. Some people were going to AA meetings as a career move because that's where everyone was, that kind of a thing.
Well, we see a lot of that kind of stuff in Malibu. You know, they get all dressed up in the shop. And you know what? God bless them. They're in the room. Hopefully they find the miracle and it rubs off on them one way or another. But yeah, you know, there's definitely people that show up for different reasons. But as a whole, the program is a pretty strong program.
You got a star here. He's got a message. How does that message resonate again with a 20 to 25-year-old, a 50-year-old who has never even been to Hollywood and wouldn't know a stage if you threw him on one the next minute? How do you make that connection?
Well, with me, sometimes I would be sitting next to somebody that I would think if they need to be here, I certainly do. I'm a regular guy from Tucson, and sitting next to a Baldwin in a meeting, it would kind of give me a little bit of thoughtfulness that if he needs it, certainly I could. And he connects, and we connect at a different level. At one addict talking to another, or one alcoholic talking to another, we're able to speak a language that a parent couldn't get through in a year. In 5 minutes, I can sit a kid down and go, hey, I know how you feel, and you don't have to feel like this anymore.
Well, we got to stop it right there. Great conversations. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
How long has it been now?
One day at a time.
There you go. Congratulations. Congratulations both of you, and thank you both for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Tonight's edition of Arizona Giving and Leading looks at the state's refugee resettlement program, which is among the most active in the country, taking in 5 to 6% of our nation's refugees. Producer Shauna Fisher and photographer Langston Fields introduce us to a nonprofit cafe that's helping refugees succeed in their new country.
From the outside, there's nothing unusual about the Refuge Cafe. But step inside and look past the latte making, and you'll see what makes the cafe stand out.
We do have an unusual employee base here. It's unique for many restaurants. We have a at-risk youth training program, which involves foster kids or young refugee kids.
Refugees like Ame Mukiza.
I was only 2 years when I left from Congo.
After leaving the Congo, Ame lived in several countries before making his way to the United States and Phoenix. The 18-year-old high school senior is living with a host family and working part-time at the cafe.
And what we do is we teach them the soft skills in the workforce, showing up on time, reporting or communicating when they need time off, as well budgeting their money. We teach them how to do interviewing. We work with them on their resumes. As well, they learn barista skills, kitchen skills, front of house, back of house, customer service.
It's Ame's second week at the cafe. He is starting off washing dishes and keeping the cafe clean. He's also tackling baking. But more importantly, Ame is learning skills that will help him down the road.
Means I will be able to support myself. As an 18-year-old, I need too much. So I'm getting to the age where I will need money.
Some employers may shy away from hiring refugees, but Ame says it's a win-win, and he's happy to have a chance to prove what he can do.
So I think hiring a refugee could be double. It's like helping someone, and it's also knowing that you are working with someone who's interested to work.
Programs like the one at the Refuge Cafe are vital to a growing workforce that includes young immigrants and foster kids who have aged out of the system. Instead of seeking handouts, these kids are being given a way up and out.
Most commonly when they have aged out of the system, they basically just get kicked out of the system. They're just left hanging, and they need some help. They've not had anyone teach them, you go to work, you work hard and things like that it takes to get by in life.
Ame will spend a few months at Refuge Cafe, and then in the fall he will attend NAU. He has a lofty goal in mind.
After university, I'll be able to get my dream job. My dream job is to work in the United Nations.
And John is honored he and the cafe can be ingredients in Ame's future success.
I'm proud of to be who I am, and accepting every worst side of me and the best side of me.
The Refugee Cafe is located near 7th Avenue between Camelback and Indian School Roads. It's a division of Catholic Charities. Friday on Arizona Horizon, it's the Journalists Roundtable. We'll have more on Susan Bittersmith's decision to resign from the Corporation Commission, and as Representative David Schweikert again considering a primary challenge to Senator John McCain. That's on the Journalists Roundtable. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Virginia G. Piper Charitable Trust, committed to changing lives and strengthening community through investments in nonprofits and strategic initiatives. More information at pipertrust.org.